All right, we're in the Easter tournament. We're on hole number 3. Let's check it out. Let's check out hole number 3. What is hole number 3? Let's look at it first. So we're trying to, there's several ways that we can go at it. We can lay it up here. We can lay it up down here. I'm actually trying to go for this side over here. You have several ways when you're coming at the cup. If you can get far enough down here, you can actually go on the outside of the sand trap. You don't have to involve it at all. But depending on your area, you may have to hit and bounce over the sand trap, or you may be able to catch the other side and stop it. From up here, you have a pretty straight in run. You can go around the sand trap to come to the cup. Let's look at our red lines. Where are our red lines at it? So you can see, is that the right one? That's the wrong one. Wrong one. Right here. There we go. So we can see where our red lines are at. So when you're setting a shot up like this, I keep it in the wrong pan. This fairway right here, I'm trying to ride the transition. You can see where our red line, where we're doing a max overpull, where we encounter it. So we want to set the shot up. We're thinking curl. So we're trying to make this bend coming down into this area. And we're on this trajectory. So if we start off from here with even just a little bit of curl, we're going to end up in this. So we're going to have to pull it to the left in order to give ourselves more room for our shot to develop. And we need to pull it to the left because of this rough. So we want to pull it out here in the fairway. Now my typical MO is that I would pull 2 rings out into the fairway because I always want to be 2 rings off any transitional surface. So that's going to put my trajectory like this. And we got to make this bend. And this would be better, Serge, if you had an upper level apocalypse. You're off in this direction so that you can clear out here on the max red line and give yourself a couple of rings of separation from this transitional surface. So you're going to be heading off in this direction, and you got to cover this gap. And so if you had a level 7 or 8 apocalypse, you've got the topspin to do it. This would be a great shot for one of the 5 power balls with extra topspin to do. So if you had like a level 4 or level 5 apocalypse, you could tap that topspin on there, and it would kind of it would give you close to emulation. But with an extra mile, especially if you got an 8 or a 9, especially a 9, you can get around the bend and try and really go for it over here to try and make it over to the other side. So we have several different ways that we can go at it. Now, where our red line is at, because we can get into this fairway right here, there may be a max overpower hook shot we can do. We've got to watch these trees that are up here. A lot of times with the newer holes, they'll put trees up close to the tee box that we can't get out of to do a max overpower hook. But if we were out here in the fairway, it's nice and clear. But there is a max overpower hook shot we can do if we're trying to land in this zone. But if you think about just like a max curl, max side spin overpower hook, you're probably coming off in this direction. You'd have to start way out here, and the farther you go to the left, the longer your second bounce has to be in order to clear stuff. So you can't go too far out. You could go far enough out so that you're on the right trajectory, but I don't think you'd make it here. So it might be one of those shots where you don't do max curl or you don't do side spin, because side spin doesn't take effect until the ball hits. That's why a lot of times we'll see our ball and it's doing what it's supposed to do, and then it hits the ground and the side spin takes effect. And once the side spin takes effect, it takes a jog one way or the other. But we have several ways to go at this hole to get to our delivery spot. And where we end up down here on the end, it's really going to depend on what kind of club you have. You're trying to find a spot that you can hit to consistently. The consistent shot to go for here is to do the layup shot right up into this corner. But I will say that if you're doing the layup shot up in this corner, you've got to make sure that you never overrun it, because I don't think you can recover from up here. I think if you're down here on the lower end or down in this area, you can recover. But if you get much past that, back towards the tee box, you're in the no recovery zone. You're in the you got a ton of work to do. You're gonna have to lay it up somewhere and then try and make it from there. All right, that was hole number 3. I think we have some pretty good opportunities on hole number 3. Let's see how the video goes. I'll turn the. Let's see what the second shot looks like here. Now the wind's going to push me forward about 2.5 rings. So the wind's going to push me in front of that rough no matter what. Now it's just all about trajectory. Isn't it perfect? Actually, I haven't watched the shot to see where it goes. And I clipped that rough and just bled off into that fairway. I have hit it where I cleared the rough, where I got the angle right, and the wind was just high enough that I was able to clear it. Now my opponent is in the perfect spot up there, and with a 2 power ball, you can see where their red line's at. This is why on these par 5s it really is important to bring you. So my opponent's right at their red line. With a 3 power ball, they're probably looking at the blue ring, maybe the clear ring for their red line. So it's going to push it forward, and they'll have much. If the wind was blowing, if we had headwind, it would give you the ability to pull back a little bit from the red line and still be able to clear this sand trap on the right hand side. With a 2 power ball, if we had a headwind and you wanted to take the wind out, you'd have to move it over to the left to give yourself more fairway back here. And the more you move it to the left, the more you're involving the sand. And you can see the bounce between the second bounce and the third bounce. We're not going to clear it, so we're going to have to go around the sand. That is not setting up that is a now they didn't adjust the wind out right, so they're okay, but oh man, hitting it that far. I can't believe that this didn't go in the water. And it was like a million miles away from the water. Getting spam calls on a Sunday. What's the deal? So from that over there, we're in mid-sniper, and I am having to bounce over the sand. But I've got plenty of room to bounce over the sand to do whatever I want. There's no way that sand's really going to come into play. Let's see what kind of an adjustment I made here. I think I should have got a little bit. It must be with the contour on this course, it must be rolling out towards the cup, but with a headwind, I think I should have been probably more towards the cup. And I did a 4, moved at 4 3/4 rings, and I ran out of time. Look at that. Look at that. And my opponent obviously did not make their shot. Isn't it perfect? Looks like I was doing 1-to-1. Close, and slightly over pulled it. All right, there you go. That's hole number 3. I like our odds of just trying to get way down in there. Playdemic is a ball manufacturer, so the deal is we don't like to talk about the money in the game, or that's like the elephant in the room that nobody ever talks about. Everybody's all like, you should be playing Masters, or you should be playing this, and it's like okay, send me $400 a month and I'll play Masters. But the reality is that the people that are at the top of the bracket on these holes, if a bigger ball will help them, they're going to have those bigger balls and they're going to use them. So we can act like, rookies only play with Marlins and Katanas, but the reality is that you're going to pull out whatever ball is appropriate for the hole. If you've got lower developed clubs, there's a lot of these holes that, somebody that's got upper developed clubs might be able to get done with a power 3 or a power 4 ball, and you can bring out a power 4 or a power 5. Now, when the hole is just difficult, and even people that have better clubs have to bring out a power 5 ball with top spin boost, then it's going to be tough for everybody. But Remember too that some of your clubs, when you've got lower developed clubs, if you ever have to pull back from the red line and you're trying to set the shot up and you're trying to still get maximum distance forward, that you might be better off switching to a different club. You may be hitting with an extra mile, and it may be better to be able to drop down to a big topper so you've got all that top spin, because you're not pushing against the red line. A lot of the holes that are in this course that I've seen so far, at least in the first 3 holes, we're definitely pushing against our red line, so you want the biggest hitting club that you have. All right, thanks for watching.